to see how much you're willing to give for what amount. The first time you undercharge somebody,
you be like, oh no.
Baby, that alone will get you clear. Listen, that alone, the first time.
We having tears in your eyes.
You be like, I never do this again. I will never do this again.
That's a fact.
No coach has to come and tell you to charge more.
That's a
you
fact.
will see for yourself. I did all of these things and got paid $2 by the time we broke it down. I used to have clients where I'd be like, well, you might as well work at Starbucks because what is...
Yeah.
They, and they're like, oh, yeah, because you just did all of this for that. Do you feel like it was worth it to you? Mm-hmm. Do you feel like it was worth it to you? No, I should have did better. So what's the next price? I'm going to double it. Good for you. And I'll see you when you're ready to double it again. Because once a few people give it to you, it's time to double it.
Yeah.
Are you ready? We're going to run the play. Let's go. Do you know what it's like to come from nothing at all? But every day you just wanting it all. Do you know what it's like? Every day facing your fear, but believing that your blessing is near. Do you know what it's like? Growing up broken than most, but still being devoted the most. Do you know what it's like? Yeah, that's what the journey's about. Yeah. Let me show you how.
What's going on, y'all? This is Justin Owens, back at the Run the Play show, where I help break down the top plays of success from top leaders, entrepreneurs, and personalities by sharing gems from their personal playbook. And today I'm excited. Listen, I got the leading authority on personal finance, entrepreneurship, and success. She got a couple bestseller books as well. Miss Patrice Washington, how you doing?
Hi, Justin.
So, I'm excited to have you here, first of all. Because, one, I just want to say, the information you put out, how you help people, is really impactful. And two, she's a really dope person. Every time we get together, we laugh a lot. I don't know if
this is why I'm already laughing, and you haven't even said anything, and I'm already in chuckle mode. But go ahead.
Yes. So, all right. Everybody talks about, being a high value man and what comes with that. And I'm not talking about relationships, statuses or anything like that. But a lot of people financially would say you're a high value woman. Not just financially, but just as a person. What comes with being a high value woman today from your eyes in the dating space?
Oh, there's so many layers
There's
here.
a lot of stuff to unpack.
Yeah. First of all, I should just say that I'm newer to dating.
Okay.
So you already know I was married for 15 years with the same person for 18 years.
Wow.
So I've really only been out here a little under 2 years.
Yeah.
So for me, dating is about collecting data.
Yeah.
About who I am, what I like, what I need, want, and desire. And also learning men, because I was with one man for so long, my whole adult life.
Yeah.
So, I wouldn't call myself an authority on dating.
Right, yeah.
Although it has been a glorious experience.
Guys be having a different experience. Be like, man, it's hard out here, man. You know what I'm saying? They just want you for your stuff. Ladies be like, no, it's cool. Because I think ladies...
I mean, it could be the other way, too.
But I feel like ladies do a better job of setting proper expectations a lot of times than men. Like, if a lady is not going into a relationship for a relationship at this point, she's more likely to say that than sometimes a man. I could be wrong. But
I think that men assume that that's what a woman wants to hear, as opposed to being honest about what they actually desire. So for me, I've just been radically honest. That's like a value for me. That's a core value at this stage in my life.
Yeah.
Because I spent so many years, I wouldn't even say people pleasing, but to an extent people pleasing, or putting myself or allowing myself to stay in the boxes that other people had created for me. So I wasn't always radically honest about what I wanted and what I desired. And at this stage, I'm 42 years old. I'm like, listen, I'm very clear about what I need, want, and desire. And I don't think you have to be nasty about it, but if you're clear, you're just clear. And you give people an opportunity to decide if they want to be a part of what you have going on. And if they don't, it's no love loss. It's not, no one's wrong.
Yeah.
It's just not a right fit. But I think that a high value woman, I would say, and let me be clear, because y'all love to come in these comments with stuff. So let me be clear. You refer to me as a high value woman. I don't disagree, but that's not a label I put on myself.
Correct.
So with that being said, I would say a high value woman knows who she is, she knows what she desires, and she's not afraid to articulate it.
I like that. By the way, we're going to cut that little disclaimer out, so it ain't going to be there when y'all watch it. No, I'm joking. No, it's going to be there. It's going to be there. All right, so, but you said something that you said you got to a point where you stopped worrying about what people think. What, and fit into the boxes that people try to put you in, at what point did you get there? Because it seems like, I think it's people like, like older people a lot of times, like 70s, 80s, they be like, I don't care, they be outside, whatever. And I feel like the earlier a person can get there in their life, the better. So what caused you to get to that point?
I would say turning 40 was a big one.
Okay.
It was coming because, on my show, I've had Redefining Wealth podcast for 6 years.
Yeah.
So I've been interviewing people for all this time.
Yeah.
I've been reading all the books. We're very much about self-help and self-improvement, self-empowerment, especially for women. So as I'm taking in all of this information, what a lot of us do is we gather information, but we don't implement. I've been implementing things as I learn. Every time I talk to someone, I'm like, what's 1 or 2 things I can implement quickly from what I just learned?
Yeah.
And I believe that success loves speed.
Yeah.
So the faster you can implement things, the better.
Yeah.
Well, for these years, all through my 30s, I'm implementing. And then the more you implement things, the better your questions to yourself get. And then when you're ready to be radically honest, the better them answers get.
Yeah.
And so now you start to, shift. And for me, I think turning 40 was like listen, let me be clear.
Yeah.
I'm not here to wait for you to approve of any action I take. I'm not here to appease or please other people. I have nothing to hide, defend, protect. And I don't have any reason to pretend to be something I'm not to please you. You trying to figure out who you are. So
I know what they do.
So around 40, it really kicked in. And I used to say when I was a little girl, my grandmother was one of those people. She was like, let your yes be your yes and your no be your no.
Yeah.
She was very direct with people. And I thought that her clarity was mean.
Yeah.
So for so many years, I wanted to be nice. I wanted to be nicer. So I would try to soften things and change my tone and change my delivery. And I didn't want to be the angry black woman. And so I would just give people all the room to run amok in my life. Man, I was like, I'm so grateful I didn't have to wait till I was 70 to let my yes be my yes and my no be my no. I'm glad I caught it at 40, but if I could have caught it at 25, even better.
Wow, I like that. How do you say no? At this point, like, do you just be like, no, I'm not gonna do it? Like, what is? Can you give me like a couple of ways?
You know
to
what's
say
so
no?
funny? I had to pause because no for me now does not come with an explanation. So that's why when you asked me, I was just like my face went blank because no is a complete sentence.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I have to give people additional explanation anymore. If something doesn't work for me, I just reply with a no. I don't feel the need to do that because usually we're trying to make people feel better about our no.
Yeah.
We want people to validate our no. We want them to come into agreement with our no. At this point, I'm not attached to your response to my no. The only thing I'm committed to is being honest to myself first and then to others. But I have no attachment. So if I say no and you give me attitude, I done moved on already. Like if I say no and you reply and your email has a whole bunch of words in it, I have the right to delete the email or to not respond. Like if I say no, I don't really, it doesn't mean that sometimes I don't offer that because based on who you are to me and how much I value or want to nurture the relationship, but I'm still not gonna like try to soften everything because I'm not being mean. I'm just being clear.
Right.
And there's a difference. But people think clarity is offensive. Clarity is only offensive to people who want to take advantage of you.
Yeah.
It's not offensive to people who are just okay with whatever your answer is.
Yeah.
The only way you have a problem with me is if you expected me to say yes. Now you weren't really asking, you were telling with a question mark. But you weren't really asking me, right? So now you feel some kind of way. But you were telling me and putting a question mark to make me feel better.
Right, to make it feel like it was
my decision. To make it feel like it was my decision. But then when I give you my decision, you got an attitude. Well, if you were open to whatever my response was and you weren't attached to my yes or my no, then we both good.
Wow, now that's deep. I felt that. That sizzled in my spirit a little bit. You know what I'm saying? All right, so let's talk about money real quick.
Yeah.
Your book here, Redefine Wealth for Yourself. Yourself is big for me in this, the title. But can we talk about, because I know you have some pillars about defining wealth. Can you talk about, because I know we talked about a few times, you have a holistic approach to creating wealth. So there's some differeces. It's not just like, hey, there's nothing wrong with this, but it's not like, hey, put emergency fund aside.
Right.
There's other pieces to what you talk about. So could you give us some, information about that?
So just backstory, because I've been at this for more than 15 years. So I used to be the person that just wanted to help people with the skill set stuff, because that's what we learn, right? Like, you save 10% of what you earn and, give 10% and do this and do that. And when I came here to Atlanta the first time around, this was 2011 or so, I worked at a financial education nonprofit, and I was the leading financial management consultant for the country. Wow. And they used to, have this curriculum that was all about budgeting and debt elimination and savings and investing, but they couldn't get people to go more than like 30% through the program. Okay. And here in the Atlanta market, I started to really work with people on their life. We need to connect these financial goals to something bigger, but we also need to dissect what's going on in the other parts of your life that are stopping you from doing the stuff you say you want to do with your money. Got it. And between my own experience, losing everything in the recession. So I don't know if I built a 7-figure business straight out of college and then lost it all in the recession and had to start over myself. That's why I came to Atlanta. Wow. Because, everybody come to Atlanta to start over. That was the thing. So in that, and myself, my own journey, but also when working with people, our numbers started to climb where people were completing 80% of the program. They were raising their credit. They were paying off debt. They were doing all this stuff. People are like, what are you doing? I'm like, talking to them about everything but money. I started to really coach them through, these are the things that impact your finances even when you're not thinking about it. And in 2016 is when I really developed the 6 pillars of wealth. And so these are, like I said, the parts of life that impact finances. People just don't make the connection. And that's what keeps them spiraling in these financial cycles where they're still saying stuff like, when it rains, it pours, and it takes money to make money. And they have all of these limiting beliefs around what's possible for their finances because they're not willing to look at the other parts of their life. Yeah. So 6 pillars. Yeah. Can you tell me what they are? First pillar is fit. It's about becoming your best self. So we talk about being mentally and physically well. So typically I just say, if you have a vision for your life, you have a duty and responsibility to protect the only vessel you're going to get. You cannot desire all this financial wealth and be out here talking about health is wealth and then run yourself into the ground in the name of chasing purpose or being on your hustle and grind. For what? You're not working to pay for prescriptions you can't pronounce. Wow. That's a fact. Feel me? Yeah. And I wanted to just say too about being mentally fit, especially because I know there's a lot of entrepreneurs that listen to this show. Nice. Yeah. You cannot be praying for these big platforms and all these dollars and all these sales if you're not going to be mentally fit to really take care of it and hold space for that. Yeah. Because we talk about this, having a bigger platform is more people with opinions about who you are, what you do, don't know you from a can of paint, but have a lot of opinions. And if you're not mentally fit for the journey, you're going to give up before you hit your 7 figures or whatever it is you desire. Yeah. It's easy to. You're going to hide. You're going to stop promoting yourself. You're not going to market yourself because you're so caught up in what people think about you. Yeah. That's being mentally fit. You have to be mentally prepared to handle what you're praying for. So you're talking about comments and feedback from social media, what people are going to say about what you're doing, that type of stuff. And it's not just comments from strangers. A lot of us have family and friends with strong opinions. Yeah, I've had a few of those. Very strong. They the strongest sometimes. Yeah, they're the strongest, and they're the loudest because they can get to you. Yeah. So how do you manage that? How do you not allow that to stop you from staying in your stride and running the play? You know what you're called to do. Maybe they weren't CC'd on the memo, but that's not for you to stop doing the thing. But most of us stop prematurely because we're not mentally fit for the game. Yeah, no, I agree. I had a challenge one time in my life, and this was I had to learn how to still balance it because family's gonna say stuff. And when you winning, it's real easy to ignore it. But then when you go through a loss or a challenge, and you be like, man, shoot, maybe they was right. You know what I'm saying? And then I was like, wait, nah, they still not right. Yeah. I wasn't necessarily 100% wrong, but it didn't work out for me. But there's moments that I've noticed that even
even if you're on your game and you're mentally strong and tough and you got that together, there's moments where still like little pieces of doubt can slip in or conversation. You still got to be able to like, okay, no.
Yeah, but that's easy because you have awareness of 100% of your failures.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? So you are very aware of all the times you didn't show up, all the things you didn't do, all the times it didn't work out.
Yeah.
And if you don't become mentally tough, it'll make it so that anytime you doubt something, you feel like that means you shouldn't do it.
Sheesh.
Just because you doubt, that doesn't mean don't do it. That means, okay, give voice to wherever that's coming from and deal with that so you can move forward. But you don't run from it, you run to it. That's a part of the game.
Yeah, I like that. Okay. So we got fit.
Fit. Second one is people. It's about creating relationships that matter. And that's personally and professionally. And one of the big things that has been like a life lesson for me, you know, Neil's both our boy, and I shared this even on his podcast. It was something that I told him years ago. Steve Harvey taught me that there's always someone watching you who has the power to bless you, but who are they watching you be? There's always someone watching you who has the power to bless you.
Yeah.
And you know, sometimes like people who are real churchy, they be like, God blesses you. Listen, God uses people.
Yeah.
And how do those people perceive you? Yeah. What is their experience of you when you show up?
Yeah.
Like, are you only talking to people because you think they can do something for you?
Yeah.
Or are you just someone who enjoys connecting with souls? Like, it got to be a soul that you think has an angle.
Yeah.
One of the worst things people could do with me when I go speak, in particular, is I'm just friendly. I'm cool. Like, you know, I'm just an energy person. So I'm like, hey, and then they like, they snub me.
Yeah.
Until I become the keynote speaker the next morning. Now afterwards, you're like, oh my God, you were so good. Ma'am, I remember you. But I remember you, though, is the thing.
I do.
But I remember you. I remember how you acted in the elevator yesterday. Like, it's a no for me. Because if you only want to engage with people based on what you believe they could do for you, meanwhile, the person who may look like nothing to you is the one with the juice. And you just played yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a
I've
lot
had it
there.
happen a few times too. I'm like, oh, okay. Because, you know, I look like a kid too. So, you know, people's mind, they be like, he ain't got it going on. So then when they find out, they be like, oh, man. No, I
They know you got it going on because you got all your jewels on.
Yeah, I'm putting this all away though. I actually have a new project I'm about to do. You'll see. I'm about to
Oh, really?
I'm putting all the, you're going to see. It's just, because I feel like there's some things that got changed in the culture and stuff like that. So,
Okay.
But back to you though, right? Relationships.
Yeah.
How do you, because I'm big on that. We talk about that a lot on the show. Relationship is a form of currency.
Yes.
And you have to manage it the right way. And you have to honor relationships.
Yes.
What are some things you've done to be able to grow and nurture relationships effectively?
One easy lesson that I talk about in this book is small, thoughtful gestures.
Yeah.
People think that it has to be like all of this elaborate stuff, or if they can't give it 100, they don't give it all. Sometimes people just need an encouraging text. Yeah. Sometimes folks just need a little delivery of cookies or flowers at their door. You know, just I'm thinking about you goes a long way, because you can't only reach out to people when you want something.
Yeah. That's true.
Right? I don't mind giving. I'm a very cheerful giver. Yeah. But I don't like takers. I believe in give and receive relationships where there's like a mutual respect and all of those things we honor. Even if you go through seasons where you don't speak because life happens, but there's a mutual respect, right? Giving and receiving. But people who only show up when it's time to take, they're never also willing to give. No.
Yeah. Yeah. And you learn that too. Y'all start making some money and then you go through a little season where you ain't got nothing. The same.
Baby.
You be like, hey, I need that back, man. I can't do it right now, bro. Like, hey, listen. But it's these ebbs and flows that you got to learn. You got to learn with people and yourself. So I think that's very helpful. And you said something about just treating people the right way regardless of who you think they are. Yeah. Because here's the thing that's tricky is some people find out who you are immediately, like the next day. But for some of us, people don't find out who you are until 5 years later. Right. But you still don't forget how people treated you.
No.
So
it just shouldn't matter. And you just don't know where life is going to take you. And I'm not saying you do it for this purpose.
Yeah.
But, you know, we're both on the Neatness Network.
Yeah.
So Anthony O'Neill and I had a conversation years ago because I met his brother-in-law at an event.
What?
Had no idea that they were related, no idea that they were connected, nothing.
Yeah.
And then an opportunity came up for me, and somehow just scrolling on Instagram, I'm like, why is Anthony with Belief's daughter? Like, what is that? You know, I'm like, how does this happen? I love this little girl. And so I reach out to him. I'm like, is Anthony related to you? He's like, yeah, that's my brother-in-law. And it made a connection. And we've been able to support people for years. But I didn't know any of that. I was just being cool. You just don't know where things are going to go.
That's a fact. Yeah, it's funny because I met Belief and Anthony separately as well.
Okay.
And it was a sim. I was like, okay. Yeah, cool. He was like, no, you know my brother-in-law, though. I seen y'all do some stuff. I was like, who? He was like, Anthony. I was like, get out of here, bro. That's crazy. So it's a small world.
It's much smaller, especially with social media now and all the things. And it's not, you're not being a good person to get something from people.
Yeah.
Just be a good person.
Yeah. No, I agree 1,000%. And you know what's funny is, even if people don't know you publicly have a relationship, all of us do it. We be like, hey, do you know so-and-so? Because I never met them before, but like, what you know about them?
Okay, for entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Please. I just heard from a girlfriend the other day who had an experience with someone, and she said, hey, young man, you're not handling this the right way, because he didn't want to redo something and he did a terrible job.
Yeah.
And she said, you know, you don't know who I know, who I'm connected to, what business I could send to you. Like, and he said something like, oh, in my business, clients are not always right, which I understand, but still preserve what's possible here. Because you know what she did? She called me, and she called her, and she called her, and she called him. Because, baby, bad news travel faster than good news.
Facts.
And I love to like share resources when people are doing good work, but you never know how quickly someone will be like, hey, because I block people off the strength, personally. Like, if I see, I'm a preemptive blocker, you know? If I see someone cut up in your comments, and I mean this, I've probably already done it. Your comments, Anthony's comments, any of my girls' comments, if they talk to you crazy, I'd be like, doop, block. I don't care if you were like, Patrice, I want to give you da-da-da-da-da. No, because I can already tell you don't know how to honor and respect people by how you behaving in these comments. It's okay. It's okay. You don't ever have to worry about me. You don't have to do it to me, but I do understand that I'm never above someone's bad behavior. So once I see you behave poorly with somebody else, it's only a matter of time before you bring that to my doorstep, because you've already shown your character.
Sheesh.
So, no, I'm okay. My block list is so long on Instagram, it's wild. Not even because I've had any run-ins with that many people.
I don't like the energy.
Don't like it.
Wow. That's big, though, because here's the thing. You don't know if some of y'all watching might be blocked right now.
You might be. Look, Justin, they might go look me up like, wow.
I can't find her page.
I can't find her page.
Yeah.
You can't. And you won't.
Yeah. But it does show you gotta be careful what you say in all environments.
And it doesn't mean not to honor your honesty. Like, I'm not saying not to honor your honesty, but there's a way that you treat people. Yeah. And I believe that you can tell people what you desire, even if it's contrary to what they want, and still leave them with their dignity. Yeah, I agree. We can disagree. Yeah. That's just having a discussion. Yeah. But coming in my comments arguing? Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. And that part, I feel like the world is kind of like, it's going to have to get better at some point. But it's like, I can agree with you and still respect you. We could be on it, but it's how you do it. Because, you know, some people just be like, you know, I had a recent video, some of y'all know, you know, people kind of went on me. And I said, listen, this is my opinion, by the way, first of all, and I clarified it in the comments, and Anthony pinned it, so I know they saw it. I said, listen, this is just my opinion. But if a girl's driving this, then she got to have, you know, she probably going to date a guy to do this. And girls like, well, just because I drive that don't mean I don't have no money. I said, ma'am, I didn't say you didn't have no money.
You know what I learned being in media, though? What? So I was on the Steve Harvey Show for 4 years. Yep. I was on weekly radio. People hear what they want to hear. Yeah. They would email in and be like, Patricia Williams said I wasn't supposed to pay my debt, and now my stuff is behind. Never, ever did you hear me say. Right. You could run the tape on that on any of these episodes or any of these live, you know, shows. tell you now. First of all, my name is Patrice. Let's start with that.
Start.
Now we know that you didn't hear the advice right, but people hear what they want to hear, and they also are filtering it through their own experience and through their own trauma and through their own exposure and relationships. So at this point, I feel for people. Like, there's videos of me out there where people have chopped up me talking about my divorce and tried to weaponize it against me. Like, it's wild. And I don't really read comments much, but I did see a couple, and I recognize that because I choose to tell the parts of my story that honor my sentiment without throwing people under the bus.
Right, yeah.
They sympathize with other sides.
Yeah.
I made a choice, a conscious choice, to say or not say certain things. Correct. And because you want to take bits and pieces of that and create your narrative, I don't lose any sleep at night.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you wanted to do. I let people be great. But again, I know when I meet you in public.
Look, I'm telling you, that ain't the smile y'all want to see. I have learned in this interview. If you get that smile, duh. But that's real though, because transparently, y'all know, I was married for 11 years, and actually today we have a better relationship than I did when we were married. But when people go through divorce and stuff now, I be like, listen, I have no opinion because you ain't never been through it, so you have no idea what comes with it. And I think people just got to do a better job of just minding their business. I think it's just it's been lost. It's been lost in the world. That's my pillar. Mind your business. You understand? So,
but you know what? But it comes with having a platform. For me, I understand that.
Yeah, it does.
Because my podcast is very transparent and it's really rooted in a lot of vulnerability and the lessons that I learned. Not that I've just learned over the years, but even when I'm in the messy middle of stuff, I'm always looking for the lesson or the blessing, and that's what I use to support my audience. Yeah. So not to tell people what to do, but to say, here's something I want to offer to you. Here's something to consider. When you find yourself in a season of transition or pivoting or evolution, these are some of the things that may come up. And here's how I use journaling to go through it, or here's how I use, different support mechanisms to do that. And so I realized that when you open that up, it makes people feel like they have a right to come in and give certain opinions.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's why, back to the first pillar.
Yeah.
Mentally fit. You can give it.
Yeah.
I get to choose if I take it.
Yeah, that's strong. It does seem like today, probably more than ever, I've seen more people make transitions and pivots. Not just in relationships, but it seems like collectively, even entrepreneurs, people are just like, okay, I got it. I have to do something else. You've made a few pivots. Can you give advice to some entrepreneurs? Maybe they're new. Maybe this is their first time pivoting because you had a business, went down, and had to make a transition. Anything you could share with entrepreneurs that may be going through a season of uncertainty or making pivots that can help them?
I think it's what you just said, starting with that. It's a season.
Yeah, okay.
And when you're in a season, a period of transition, it is really easy, especially when you're not mentally or spiritually sound, to feel like it's forever. Yeah. To feel like, oh my God, my life, what am I doing? God, did I hear you? Blah, 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 blah. Did I make the right choice? So it's just to remember that this is a season and it won't last always. That's the first thing. I would say the second thing when you're pivoting is to not be so consumed with self-awareness that you forget soul awareness. And a lot of people don't really know the term soul awareness. So self-awareness is just being aware of your thoughts, your feelings, behaviors, whatever, and how it impacts you and how it may impact the people around you. And that is so important. But a lot of people stop at that. Because when you stop at self-awareness, in my opinion, and from the women that I coach, when we stop at self-awareness, we still end up trying to pivot using old definitions, using like old ways of being, old ways of thinking, because we're aware of some stuff, but we're not aware of what we truly want yet. Soul awareness is if you were being 1,000% authentic, if you were being radically honest with yourself,
Yeah.
right? What do you really need, want, and desire?
Yeah.
Not what sounds good on paper, not what you put on your vision board 5 years ago, not what you told your mama you was gonna do, not what you promised your grandma on her deathbed. All of those things were valid at those points in time, but every day you can decide something different.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are holding themselves hostage to stuff that they said 3 months ago, 3 years ago, 30 years ago, and it's not allowing them to move freely into the pivot. So they make a little shift and they think they've made a pivot. A pivot is not like, oh, I just went like this, right? And so you're trying to fit the same ways of being, thinking, relationships, all the stuff, and apply it to something new, and now you expect something different to happen.
Yeah.
You haven't truly shifted.
Yeah.
You've just changed what you called it, or you moved across the country, or you switched husbands or wives or something, but you haven't changed. And soul awareness is really more about being radically honest about what you want, regardless of anyone else's thoughts, opinions, and even your own judgments about what you want.
That's big. And I'm still working on the soul awareness piece. I think that's probably gonna be evolution. But I know my first time realizing it is I had like, you know, like the vision boards and all that stuff. And I was looking at, and what I realized is I was writing goals as if somebody was gonna come by and grade me on it. It'd be like,
I talk about that.
Oh, right?
Like,
Okay.
yeah, I talk about how people are writing stuff in their journals and writing it as if they're scared for someone to come see it. So for a lot of parents, for example, everything is like ends and begins with their children. And I'm like, that's cool. We know you a good mama, right? We know that you're a good father. You want the best for your children and all the stuff. What do you want? Most people can't genuinely answer what they want.
Yeah.
They can't give you a list of 25 things that they genuinely want.
Almost selfishly.
Yeah, and it needs to be selfishly, because that's what's real in your belly, like in your core. That's what's real for you. But you keep trying to force some other narrative so that it appears that you're a good person.
Yep.
Good person for who?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, if it's
No, it's
real.
deep. No, it's deep. It's a deep thought. You know, so you got self-awareness and soul awareness.
Yeah.
That's deep. I'm gonna meditate on that. That was a good nugget for me today. You know.
Text me when something comes up.
No, it will. It will. All right, so we got fit mentally, physically.
Yeah.
We got relationships.
Yeah.
Number 3 is
people.
Yep.
Yeah, people. Number 3 is space.
Okay.
Space is about setting up your life to support you. And back when I was counseling people, it would never fail. The areas that they were spending a lot of money in, they were usually dealing with a lot of clutter in. And clutter...
Let me process that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Clutter is the physical manifestation of chaos in your mind. So, let's say... I used to give an example when I would be speaking, because I speak to mostly women. So how many of you came here today and you had to go through all the stuff in your closet because nothing fit, and you just went through everything and your closet is a mess? How many of you walk over a pile of laundry to get here today and people be like, ooh, that was me? And you're like, ooh, you know, somebody come over, you're like, excuse this laundry, like it just came fresh out. Girl, that laundry is cold. You've been walking over there for 9 days. Let's stop this.
Yeah.
You've been dealing with all of this. Okay. What do you spend the most money on? Clothes, shoes, like all bags, all of this stuff, because this not set up to support you. What you have right here going on, it's not really set up to support you. So you waste a lot of money in that area of your life, not because of I need a new budget or I need a better budget. No, you need to deal with what's going on in this area. That's a fit pillar thing. You don't feel confident in the clothes that you have, so you keep taking stuff off. Why do you not feel confident? Is it because you put weight on? Is it because you took weight off? Is it because somebody told you something about your physical appearance, so now everything makes you anxious? And like it's a thing. And it impacts your finances.
Got it. So I'm trying to translate this for men. What would be an area like that? Probably could be. It could be clothes. Maybe. Okay, hold on. I'm really trying to think about this. What would be a translation? Do you have a translation for men? I'm thinking of like.
I don't talk to y'all. No, I'm playing.
I'm trying to think, because what do we spend money on? food. Okay, it could be ladies. It could be meals. It could be trips. It could be.
But clutter, I mean, is everywhere. Even people who have super organized homes deal with clutter in different places. It may look organized to the untrained eye, but you open any closet or any drawer.
That's me right there. I got a lot of stuff. I got a lot of electronics and stuff too.
Okay.
Like, I just be buying, or I buy stuff on Amazon and don't open the box.
Why?
Because I'm like, oh, this is a good idea for me to buy, but I don't want to forget it.
So you just buy it now?
I do.
And then by the time you get ready to use it, they have like a new version.
And then I want to buy
And then
that
it's
one.
not compatible with your other stuff. And now you have this brand new thing, but it's old. So you can't even sell it because don't nobody want it.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a waste of money.
Oh, this how I gets to the money stuff. I see what's happening right now. Okay.
Money.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot of us have these things that we do. And we make rationalizations and justifications for it, like you just did. Like, oh, I just buy it because I should have it, and and it might be good one day. Okay, was that really set up to support you though? No, because then it also added to your space. So now you have a closet or a room, a garage or something full of stuff that doesn't get used.
So I'm gonna start buying books. Now when people recommend it to me, when I'm ready to read it.
When you're ready to read it. Or one of the things that I do is use an app where it'll give you a 15-minute summary of the book, and then I can decide. Sometimes the summary is enough for me to get that nugget, for me to be like, ooh, that was a word.
Yeah.
And I'm okay. I don't feel like I need to read the book. And then sometimes it's like, oh, I need all the chapters related to that.
Yeah.
And then I choose to buy that book.
That's tight. I like that. Okay. All right, so the next pillar would be
Faith. Faith is about believing in something greater.
Yeah.
And I always tell people, I don't care what you say you believe in. Do you make time to practice it?
Yeah.
Because, again, most of us give up too quickly. We want that entrepreneurial dream, or we want to get to whatever point on that career ladder or something. But many of us give up before that time. And I believe that faith is about understanding that nothing in life is happening to you. It's happening for you.
Yeah.
And that's a choice. And he was like, how do you believe that? I choose to believe it. It's like you get to choose. I choose to believe that even things that may seem like all hell is breaking loose.
Yeah.
When I say I pray for a peace that transcends all understanding, sometimes people probably think I'm crazy.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think I'm crazy. And then I remember, oh, you prayed for a peace that transcends all understanding. This is it.
Yeah.
This is when you know if you really have peace, when all hell is breaking loose. You don't have it when it's all good.
Yeah.
You only know if you have it when stuff is not going the way that you intended and how you dreamed they would go, right? So having that, though, allows you to keep the mentality that you're in a season and that there is greater purpose for what you're experiencing. When you don't feel like there's any purpose in it, that's usually when people lose their ability to be resilient. So it doesn't matter what faith, what religion or whatever you say you practice. Just practice something. Make time to practice it the same way you would put anything on your calendar for work or for your kids. I have prayer and meditation and journaling on my calendar because it matters to me. And I don't
like an
think
appointment.
Yeah, like an appointment with myself, with my soul, with my spirit. Because if I say it matters to me, why it has to go on the calendar. What doesn't go on the calendar doesn't get done in my world.
Yeah.
So I value it just as much as I value dates with my daughter, dates with whoever I'm dating, whatever I have to do for work, like whatever. I value it the same, so I put it on my calendar the same.
Got it. Okay. So you talked about having a daughter. There are a lot of women that have kids, and sometimes them being an entrepreneur, and I mean at the time you were a wife as well, and a mother. How are you able to navigate that process? Because at some points, different people require different things from you.
So a lesson I learned when my daughter was probably kindergarten age, and she's now 16.
Yeah, you say she just got a car.
She just got a car.
How you feel?
How'd your kids? How'd your wife? No, she's good. No, actually, on her actual birthday, I grieved. I didn't expect to grieve. I didn't expect to grieve anything. I went to sleep the night before, all good, and woke up on August 1st, like so melancholy. It was just a heaviness. And I think it was the realization that such a big milestone is here, and she's such a little me. Like she's not a mini me, but she's such a clear woman, young woman. And I know she's one of those kids, when she goes to college, that's it. Ain't no coming back. She gonna be like, and that's how I was. And I get it. Even though we love each other, we're so tight, she's gonna go live her life, which is what I've raised her to do. But I think it hit me on that day. I was like, ooh, wait a minute. And I only have one, you know? And no chance of others, praise God. Anyway. No. We already talked about this before. In the streets. You said I was on the curb.
Yeah, on the sidewalk.
On the sidewalk.
The way you've been talking today, it sounds like you getting real close out there now.
What? In the streets? No! I'm on the doorstep, Justin.
I'm just watching from afar.
Yeah, I'm watching from afar. Anyway.
But it's a natural progression. And then you come back and you say, you know what? It's not that fun out there.
Yeah, you told me. You gave me some good advice. So I'm going
to take that.
Take that to heart. Yes. So, what was your question? My bad. I forgot.
What was the question? Dang, hold up.
Oh, I know what it was. My bad. Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. So, but back to what I was saying about her being in kindergarten, a lesson that I learned is that balance is a myth. I don't even try for balance because, like you said, there are certain seasons that just require more of you. So I've really tried to aim for harmony. So how do I bring these things together? So for me, it's looked like, you know, over the years, how do I involve my daughter? Even if it's me coming out of my office to work at the dining room table while she's doing homework. Instead of being cooped up in my office away from her and making it a separation thing, it's like, okay, she's home now in the evening and she has some work to do. Cool. I could get some work done. We could turn music on and we could do our thing.
That's really
What
good.
events can I bring her to? What's appropriate for her to see? Like, I had a client retreat last year in Mexico. I brought her to the retreat and I wanted her to see women loving on women, genuinely encouraging and supporting other women, and being grown and not this petty foolishness that we see in a lot of spaces, right? So I try to make sure, I do, bring her to different spaces where she can also have a sense of pride about who I am and what I do. I want her to always be proud of who her mother was in the world. And so I never want to create a space. And I never treated her like she was too young to understand. I would just explain to her what was going on her level at that time.
Okay.
So, you know, and I think it's made her see as a woman, as a Black woman, that she can have a family and pursue whatever it is she wants to do professionally. She watched me go back and get an MBA in financial psychology. She came to the graduation and, you know, walked the campus with me. Like, I want her to know, but I have to be the example. It's the same reason she comes with me to the gym every other week. You know, she's an athlete. She works out at her school. But when she's home and I'm going to the gym, like, let's go to the gym. I don't want to tell her that it's important. I need to show her that it's an important part of my life. In everything that I do.
Got it. Okay. That's strong. So, ladies, y'all got some answers. I think that applies to guys, too, because I have actually found myself in a situation when I lock in, I lock in. But I'm like, okay, there are some times where I can lock in and still be there. And still, you know, even if she's watching TV, I can just be doing something. So, yeah. I like that. All right. So, I'll just make sure, because I know some of y'all like, get back to these pillars. So, all right. Last one we went over was faith.
And the fifth one is work. It's about living your life's purpose. So that's the biggest piece that made me go back to school for financial psychology, besides the fact that God bamboozled me into going, but that's a whole nother story. But what made me pursue financial psychology is because in the work that I used to do with people, I recognized that most of their issues with finances, to me, came from unfulfillment. When people were unfulfilled in what they were doing day in and day out, they acted out. Or they try to cope. They try to fill the void. And so they usually fill the void by buying people or buying things. So I always encourage people, like, when you are not actively doing something that is purposeful to you, that does not mean you have to be an entrepreneur.
Okay.
It means you are aware of what your God-given gifts are and how you can use those gifts in the marketplace to be a blessing to others. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm just doing this because I'm passionate. Are you proficient? Was it a gift? Or are you just passionate? Because I'm passionate about singing in the shower, but you ain't going to pay me for it.
That's right.
Like, you're not going to give me nothing for it. So I'm not saying like not to pursue things that you're passionate about, but sometimes the things that we're most passionate about could be a hobby. Some of us need to allow ourselves to get passionate about our gifting and allow ourselves to use that gift in the marketplace. Why things that we're doing feel like a grind and like we're forcing is because we're not in flow. We're not using what just naturally comes to us.
All right. I got to ask you this, because now, all right, I have this gift, but how do I figure out what I need to charge the marketplace for it? Because that's what I see like some entrepreneurs struggle with. It's like, okay, I got this thing, but then sometimes they either charge too much for it, too little for it. Like how would you recommend somebody find that?
As someone who started over, like you said, I pivoted many times. And in my own business, I have several streams. So I'm not just an author. I'm not just a podcaster. I'm not just a speaker. I'm not just a brand like spokesperson. I have multiple things, right? I always tell people, if you're going to be resistant to a dollar amount that's just outside of maybe what you're most comfortable with, just start. Clarity comes in the doing. So whatever the number is you feel most confident about right now, allow that to be the start. Don't let these coaches out here tell you they're not paying you what you're worth. You should be making 7 figures. Listen, the market is going to determine, okay?
Facts.
Like stop this.
Facts.
And I'm a coach, but I always tell my clients to start with what they're comfortable with. And first of all, it'll give you an opportunity to see how much you're willing to give for what amount. The first time you undercharge somebody,
You be like, oh no.
baby, that alone will get you clear. Listen, that alone, the first time.
We having tears in your eyes. Like,
You be like, I never do this again. I will never do this again.
That's a fact.
No coach has to come and tell you to charge more.
That's a
You
fact.
will see for yourself. I did all of these things and got paid $2 by the time we broke it down. I used to have clients where I'd be like, well, you might as well work at Starbucks because what is...
Yeah.
They, and they're like, oh, yeah, because you just did all of this for that. Do you feel like it was worth it to you? Do you feel like it was worth it to you? No, I should have did better. So what's the next price? I'm going to double it. Good for you. And I'll see you when you're ready to double it again. Because once a few people give it to you, it's time to double it.
Yeah.
If people don't try to like negotiate with you, that tells you right there that it's time to double it. But I think more people need to just start.
Yeah.
They sit on the sidelines trying to figure out pricing and like, oh, I don't know. Do it. You're going to find out quick.
You put it out in the marketplace. It'll either tell you real quick if it's too high, too low. And here's what I like about entrepreneurship, though, because even in those experiences where you got paid and it wasn't enough, at least you got paid.
Yeah.
Versus, like, I didn't go to college, and I'm not knocking education. Y'all know this. But you go through an experience in college, and you pay to get that experience. Versus in entrepreneurship, you can learn stuff. Maybe you learn some new skills. Maybe you learn some things. You learn about yourself or how you need to sell the market. But either way, you're getting compensated through the process versus having to pay for the process. And this is what I think some of y'all messing up a little bit. And I'm a coach too. I take your money all day if y'all want me to. but I'm being honest. You know what I'm saying? I found another pillar. You know what I'm saying? No. But listen. But no, seriously. Sometimes people they're paying people for stuff that really you could do for yourself. It's like, man, you could actually just do this. Just write the book, sell it, and see what people say. Granted, you got marketing, but in all this other stuff you got to learn. But what I'm seeing right now in entrepreneurship space, you tell me, I feel like it's almost like college in the sense of, you know how people like can be in college for 10 years but change their major so many times that they graduate with nothing? That's
and pay for all of it.
And pay for it all.
Yeah.
And I see that now. Like, people they've joined the best masterminds, got all the books. I see them at every event, but every time I talk to them, it's doing something different. And I'm not saying you can't pivot.
That's not pivoting. That is searching for validation. Usually, it's not just a pivot. And I would like to offer that I believe in the work that I do now, Redefining Wealth, right, is helping people clear the clutter in all these other pillars so that they can be real about what they want to do and not have the distraction of all the other stuff. Because this is just like again, fit pillar thing.
Yeah.
Mentally, somebody told you something that in probably childhood, 10, 15, 20 years old, 5 years ago, someone said something that you're holding on to, and you think that more certifications is going to fix that, and it's not getting more certifications. You may need to go sit on someone's couch and deal with your childhood trauma. That's real.
Yeah.
It's not that you need another business program. What more people need is personal development, but they don't want to hear that because personal development seems frou-frou. But personal development is you working on your roots. Yeah. You're trying to work on new business things and change fruits. When you walk up to a tree and the fruit is bad, you can't talk to the fruit or get a certification for the fruit and be like, be better, do better, come out better. You might have to dig some stuff up and plant new roots in order to get new fruits. The byproduct, everything that we have, our business success, the money that we have access to, the relationships that we have, those are all fruits. Those are outcomes. You only get better outcomes when you change the income, the inside. That's when you do it. And a part of how I support people in doing that is going through the pillars and doing what we call an authentic alignment audit and clearing the clutter through everything so that they can have the business success they want. People are struggling in entrepreneurship not because they're not brilliant enough. I have clients that are way smarter than me. I have clients that have more degrees than me. I have friends that are more talented than me. I've been more successful because I'm more consistent, and I'm more consistent because I'm more clear about who I am. Yeah. Not because I'm smarter, better, this or that. No, I'm just consistent.
Yeah. Wow. I love that. That's really good. Is there one more pillar?
The last pillar is money, but I think you talk about that a lot.
Yeah, we talk about money. But listen, I would say this. I got enough of a cliff note to make sure I start reading this book, because this is everything is covered in the book.
Yeah, the pillars are in the book.
Yeah. All right, cool. All right, so we're going to have to... Y'all make sure y'all go get your redefine wealth for yourself. Understand? Because I've redefined mine in this conversation. And hopefully I think you can as well, because it really show you man, I'm probably messing up money because I got some stuff just not right in here. Yeah. And the better I get this right, the more money I'll make, the more valuable I'll be in the marketplace.
Personal development is the foundation for personal finance success. You cannot get more money and keep the same mindset.
Yeah, no, you can't.
You can't, because who you are with $100 is who you will be with 100,000, is who you will be with 1,000,000. Yeah. So, do we want to just make it, or do we want to make it and keep it? Yeah. If you want to keep it, you're going to have to do your work.
Yeah. No, I love that. I always have a section in the show. I call it Breakdown of Breakthroughs. And I believe everybody has breakdown, especially as an entrepreneur. You're probably going to have multiple. But the breakthrough to the next level is there's some lessons that you can pick up in the breakdown. And if you pick it up and apply it the right way, it'll open up the door to the breakthrough. Have you had any breakdowns? I know anybody successful has.
Many.
If you have one you want to share, and share with everybody a lesson that you got from it that allowed you to break through, we would like to hear it.
Well, I have had several. I will say the one that comes to mind, though, is often the story I tell about going from a 7-figure business to scraping up change. So I owned a real estate and mortgage brokerage in California. When the recession hit, lost everything, had to start over. A 6,000 square foot home in California foreclosed. Ended up in a 600 square foot box of an apartment in Metairie, Louisiana. And had a little moment with God in the mirror, like, why me? All the tears, all the yelling at God type of thing, bawling, snot, and crying. And at my lowest point at that moment, it was March 9, 2009. I found this scripture. It was Proverbs 17:16. And it said, what good is money in the hands of a fool if they had no desire to seek wisdom? That's why my name on Instagram is Seek Wisdom. Wow. It's the reminder that there's a difference between knowledge and wisdom. And what you described earlier with people going from program to program and all the masterminds and doing all the things, they are chasing after knowledge. Knowledge is more education and information. Okay. But wisdom is, do you know how to apply it? Yeah. And the only way that we learn to apply it is to, one, seek wise counsel. So there is value in coaching and mentorship. Yeah. But you have to be someone who doesn't have a butt in your spirit. A butt in your spirit means when your coach or your mentor that you invested in tells you to do something, don't your answer can't be but.
Oh, snap. Oh, that's deep.
But I'm different, but I'm special, but you don't know my industry, but this, but that. If you have a butt in your spirit, what's the point in seeking wise counsel? Now, you can reject any advice that's not in alignment with what you feel assigned to do. but the first words out your mouth cannot be but. Wow. And the thing that, like I said in the beginning, I believe success loves speed. And the faster you can implement, the faster you can see whether something works for you or not. Mm-hmm. So that breakdown is where I understood the difference between knowledge and wisdom. And my breakthrough is when I desire to go to the next level in any part of my life, in any of these pillars, I seek out people who can offer me wisdom. I still have to run it through the filter of what feels right for me, but I don't try to do life alone. I will, in that season, up until that point, March 9, 2009, I was suffering in silence because I didn't know how to ask for help, and I always had a but in my spirit. From March 9, 2009 and beyond, everything that people have seen in terms of my success has been from me being willing to ask for help, willing to receive the help, and also willing to filter what pieces of it resonate with my spirit and follow my soul and implement based on that.
Wow. That's big. I just received a lot from that. I have a question, though, about that process. 6,000 square foot home, 600 square foot apartment, right? How do you get yourself out from there?
I used the pillars. The pillars weren't defined yet, but that's the stuff I was doing. So all the exercises that I have in this book, they were things that I started to do. Because that was the first time when I looked at the difference between knowledge and wisdom, it was the first time I had looked up wealth. And I was like, because I thought I was wealthy, because I had been making all this money. We had matching Range Rovers. I was doing my thing. And that's the first time I saw that wealth on the surface is money and material possessions. But if you keep digging, you can see that the 12th century definition of wealth, the first time the word appeared really in writing, it was the condition of well-being and happiness. It was never cars, houses, all this stuff. So for me now, it's not that I don't get money, because I do. And that's, and I don't have a problem with that. I don't worship it, but I have a healthy respect for it. But I define wealth for myself is, am I well, and am I authentic, and am I in alignment? Because I believe that's what leads to abundance for me. Yeah. But that's why it's redefine wealth for yourself. Everyone gets to choose what that looks like for them.
Wow.
But doing the work in the pillars that I talk about, and probably there's like over 100 exercises and lessons in this book. Probably I would say more than half of them they were things that I was doing before people knew who I was on a bigger platform. Before I joined the Steve Harvey Show in 2014, this was the stuff I was doing.
Wow.
Yeah, and I still do to this day.
Wow. Yeah, I'm gonna read it. I like it. This is good stuff. Yeah, I'm excited, man. Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having
for the show.
me.
You know what I'm saying? We learned some stuff. Anytime somebody come through, we always like to make sure, you blessed us. We like to give you a little something for coming through. Philip, you grab that for me. Thank you, man.
Ooh.
Just a couple things from the show to you.
Thank you.
A couple little pieces to make sure you be good out here.
I'm so excited.
Yes.
Do they see this every time?
They do, but it's
I still.
There's different stuff inside of it. Every
Can I
time.
just ban a black?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
There's some consistencies and there's some changes in every box.
I'm excited.
But I think it's also, you took time from your life, and so I appreciate that, because not only did I get value, but a lot of people that's watching will get value, and it's going to be up here for a very long time. So I appreciate you coming through and
thank you.
sharing your gift.
Me.
Yeah. Where can people find you from here? I know you gave your Instagram, but if you can say it again, and then anything else you want to share.
PatriceWashington.com is where all things Patrice Washington live, and there's a quiz at PatriceWashington.com that people can take to figure out which pillar they need to start with. Today. So it's a 2-minute quiz, really quick, and it'll tell you which pillar you need the most support with. And then we can go from there.
Oh, I love it. Well, y'all get it. Y'all go to PatriceWashington.com. But I'm grateful for the plays you gave today to be able to redefine wealth. Y'all just got to play. So go run it. We see y'all in the next episode. What's going on? Listen, make sure you guys go to RunThePlayStore.com. Get your official Run the Play gear. We talk about shirts, socks, jackets for everybody that's Run the Play all across the world.
Are you ready? We're gonna run the play. Let's go. Do you know what it's like to come from nothing at all, but every day you just wanting it